What if a dirty Apache woman with only $2 knocked on a lonely cowboy's door, asking for nothing but a shower? One act of kindness uncovers a dangerous secret, powerful enemies, and a journey that will change both their lives forever. Watch till the end, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more unforgettable Wild West stories. The last light of a cold autumn evening stretched across the Montana prairie as Ethan Carter finished feeding the horses on his quiet ranch. The wind carried the scent of dry grass, and the only sounds were the soft nickers of the animals and the creaking of the old wooden barn. Ethan had lived alone for years, finding peace in hard work and long days beneath the open sky. As he reached for the lantern hanging beside the porch, a slow, uncertain knock echoed through the silence. It was so faint that he almost believed he had imagined it, but then it came again. When Ethan opened the ranch door, he found a woman standing beneath the fading light. Her clothes were dusty and torn from days of traveling, and her boots looked ready to fall apart. Long, black hair framed a tired face marked by exhaustion, yet her eyes still carried quiet strength. She held 2 worn dollar bills tightly in her trembling hand, as though they were all she had left in the world. Looking down with embarrassment, she spoke softly. "I only have $2. Please let me shower at your home, cowboy. I'll leave as soon as I'm finished." Her voice was respectful, but it carried the weight of countless disappointments. For a long moment, Ethan simply looked at her. Years of ranch life had taught him to judge people by their eyes instead of their appearance. He saw no threat standing on his porch, only hunger, fatigue, and a desperate hope that someone might finally show kindness. Many travelers passed through Montana searching for work, but few looked as worn as this woman. Ethan knew that many ranchers would have shut the door without asking a single question. Instead, he stepped aside and said calmly, "You don't owe me those $2. Come inside before the cold gets worse." The woman hesitated, almost unable to believe what she had heard. Slowly, she entered the warm cabin, carefully wiping the dust from her boots before stepping onto the wooden floor. The warmth from the fireplace wrapped around her like a blanket, and for the first time in days, she relaxed her shoulders. Ethan handed her a clean towel, fresh clothes that had belonged to his late sister, and pointed toward the small bathroom at the end of the hallway. "Take your time," he said kindly. "You'll find warm water waiting." Tears briefly filled her eyes before she quietly thanked him and disappeared behind the door. While she bathed, Ethan prepared a simple meal of beef stew, fresh bread, and hot coffee. The comforting aroma filled every corner of the cabin. He wondered what kind of hardship could leave someone with nothing except $2 and enough courage to knock on a stranger's door. Ethan had lost people he loved and understood how quickly life could change. He believed that kindness cost nothing but could mean everything to someone fighting their darkest day. As he placed 2 bowls on the table, he silently hoped the woman would finally enjoy a peaceful evening without fear. Several minutes later, the bathroom door opened, and the woman stepped into the room wearing the clean clothes. The bee dust had disappeared, revealing the quiet dignity she had carried beneath the hardship. She introduced herself as Ayanna, a member of an Apache family that had once lived with pride before tragedy scattered them across the West. During her search for honest work, thieves had stolen her horse, supplies, and every dollar she had saved. Only the 2 bills hidden inside her pocket had escaped their notice. Embarrassed by her condition, she admitted she had been turned away by nearly every ranch she visited. Ethan listened without interrupting as Ayanna shared pieces of her difficult journey. She never begged for money or pity. She simply wanted the chance to work honestly and rebuild her life. Her determination reminded Ethan of the hard-working people his father had respected throughout the frontier. After they finished dinner, he showed her the small guest room overlooking the ranch. Fields, Outside, the cold wind continued sweeping across the prairie, but inside the cabin there was warmth, safety, and hope. Neither Ethan nor Ayanna realized that this quiet night would become the beginning of an extraordinary journey, one that would uncover painful secrets, dangerous enemies, and a bond built not on wealth, but on compassion, trust, and unwavering courage. Before the first rays of sunlight reached the Montana hills, Ayanna quietly folded the borrowed clothes, cleaned the small guest room, and prepared to leave the ranch without making a sound. She believed she had already received more kindness than she deserved. Carrying her worn bag over one shoulder, she stepped toward the front door. Just as she reached for the handle, Ethan Carter appeared from the kitchen holding 2 steaming cups of coffee. With a gentle smile, he said, "No one should leave a warm home hungry." His calm voice stopped her, and she slowly lowered her eyes, realizing he'd been awake the entire time. Ethan invited her to sit for breakfast, and although Ayanna hesitated, she finally accepted. The table was simple, with fresh bread, eggs, and warm coffee, prepared from the ranch's own supplies. Ethan noticed she still looked pale and exhausted despite her night's rest. It was clear she had gone without proper food for many days. "You don't need to rush," Ethan said kindly. "Stay until you're strong enough to travel safely." His words carried no expectation and no hidden motive. They were spoken with genuine compassion, something Ayanna had almost forgotten existed after weeks of rejection and hardship across the frontier. As the morning grew brighter, Ayanna slowly began sharing the story she had kept hidden from everyone. She explained that she came from a respected Apache family known for protecting sacred land in the mountains. Her father had taught her that honor was worth more than gold, while her mother believed every promise should be kept. But everything changed when dishonest businessmen arrived, hoping to seize valuable land after discovering rumors of rich mineral deposits beneath it. Some desperate people accepted their money, while others resisted. The disagreement divided families, destroyed friendships, and forced many innocent people to flee their homes forever. From the bottom of her weathered leather bag, Ayanna carefully removed an old rolled map wrapped in faded cloth. The paper was worn with age, but strange hand-drawn symbols remained surprisingly clear. She explained that the map had belonged to her grandfather and marked hidden springs, mountain trails, and sacred Apache lands that outsiders had never discovered. It was not a map leading to treasure, but to the history and survival of her people. Greedy land speculators believed it revealed valuable mining locations, and they had spent years trying to steal it from her family through threats, violence, and deception. Ethan studied the map for only a moment before rolling it closed again. "Some things are worth protecting because they belong to a people's history," he quietly said. Ayanna looked surprised that he had not asked to keep it or sell it. Most people she had trusted cared only about what the map might be worth. Ethan cared about why it mattered. He promised never to reveal its existence unless she wanted him to. For the first time in months, Ayanna felt she could trust someone completely. That feeling alone brought tears to her eyes, though she quickly brushed them away. Later that afternoon, while repairing a fence near the edge of the ranch, Ethan noticed 3 unfamiliar riders approaching through a cloud of dust. Their expensive coats and polished boots stood out among the hard-working ranchers of Montana. They greeted Ethan politely, but their questions quickly became suspicious. They asked whether he had seen an Apache woman traveling alone carrying an old leather bag. One even offered a generous reward for information. Ethan calmly answered that many travelers passed through the region and continued repairing the fence as though their visit meant nothing. Still, every instinct warned him that these men were dangerous. After the strangers finally rode away, Ethan immediately returned to the cabin and told Ayanna everything. Fear crossed her face as she recognized the description of the men. They worked for a wealthy land company that had been hunting her ever since her father's death. She admitted they would never stop searching until they possessed the family map. Ethan looked through the cabin window toward the distant hills and made a quiet decision. "As long as you're here," he said firmly, "no one will force you to surrender your family's legacy." Ayanna realized she was no longer facing this battle alone. That evening, Ethan secured the ranch, checked every horse, and prepared for whatever danger might come next. Ayanna insisted she did not want him risking his life for her, but Ethan answered that protecting innocent people was simply the right thing to do. Together, they planned their next steps, knowing powerful enemies would soon return. The peaceful ranch that had once been a place of quiet routine was about to become the center of a dangerous conflict. Yet beneath the wide Montana sky, a friendship built on trust, courage, and compassion had already become stronger than fear, proving that true kindness often changes lives in ways money never can.